After the intensification of the Sino-US confrontation, the United States had the opportunity to unite with Russia to deal with China. Trump and Putin have a good personal relationship, and the United States has maintained a comprehensive suppression of China. As long as the U.S. government appeases Ukraine and allows it to remain calm after losing Crimea and live in peace with Russia. At the same time, NATO's eastward expansion is stopped and Russia is given some economic and political benefits, then with Putin's character, it is very likely to cooperate with the United States. In that case, China faces the following serious problems. 1. China's military security faces a serious crisis. China will become a country surrounded by the United States, Russia, and India, with only one exit in the West. At that time, the United States still had troops stationed in Afghanistan. It can be said that Pakistan is the only relatively reliable channel for China to the outside world, and the transportation is extremely difficult. Both the United States and Russia are supernuclear powers, and China will completely lose its strategic depth. 2. If the United States, Russia, Europe, Japan, India, and other powers work together to eliminate China, other countries in the world will not hesitate to stand on the opposite side of China, and China will face a desperate situation in diplomacy. After all, standing with China is equivalent to choosing failure. Why not join the side that defeats China and share a piece of the pie? 3. China will face a serious energy crisis. The world's main energy suppliers are Russia, the United States, and the Middle East. If the United States and Russia join forces, China will only have the Middle East as an option. In this case, Middle Eastern countries dare not continue to support China, and China will face the embarrassing situation of no stable energy available. 4. China will completely lose contact with Europe. Europe is politically pro-American, but because of economic ties, it retains the China-Europe Express. Without Russia's support, the China-Europe Express cannot reach Europe at all, and it is even difficult to enter Central Asia. But what is strange is that after Biden was elected as the U.S. president, he infinitely magnified the war in Ukraine. After uniting Western allies, he did not follow Trump's route to attack China, but instead shifted his firepower and fiercely attacked Russia. Russia originally adopted a strategy of profiting from both sides in the competition between China and the United States. Now facing strong pressure from the West, it has completely turned to China. Doing so has brought the following benefits to China. 1. China no longer has to worry about military security. Russia in the north can be basically undefended, Mongolia can be ignored, and there is no threat between China and Russia. China does not have to worry about the United States playing the Taiwan card. At most, it will fight a local war with the United States, and the Americans will not dare to risk a war. After consolidating friendly relations with Pakistan, China has maintained high pressure on India so that it dare not provoke China. The United States has lost an ace. 2. China and Russia have joined forces to let other countries see the situation clearly. China cannot be defeated in the short term. They are more willing to maintain friendly trade relations with China, the world's factory, and stay away from Sino-US competition. Without the support of the vast number of southern countries, the United States will never be able to defeat China in economy and technology. And through economic and technological competition with China, the United States is at a demographic disadvantage and geographical disadvantage. China's large and high-quality population determines that China can support a huge economic scale through internal circulation, and the economic risk is far less than that of the United States. China is not only in the prosperous East Asian economic circle, but also maintains close ties with Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Europe by land and sea. Southern countries in Africa and Latin America have traditionally been more supportive of cooperation with China. China's strong advantage in foreign trade has made the United States desperate and can only hit China through tariffs. 3. Pakistan and Middle Eastern countries have completely turned to China. As China and Russia are united, Middle Eastern countries have begun to eliminate their grievances and join forces to deal with Israel, causing Israel to fall into madness and continue to expand the war. The United States favors Israel, which has also led to the Middle Eastern countries, especially Arab countries, leaning towards China in the competition between China and the United States. These countries have abundant energy and a lot of money, which is of great help to China. 4. China has completely solved the energy crisis. Russia's oil and natural gas are transported to China through pipelines, which is fast and convenient. The oil and gas resources of Middle Eastern countries are connected to Xinjiang through Pakistan, which can completely bypass India and the Strait of Malacca and avoid being blocked by hostile forces in the war. China's new energy and nuclear energy industries are also developing rapidly, making China's energy options more and more abundant. 5. The United States has been unable to defeat China for a long time, which will make the countries that follow it doubt and reposition themselves. Japan and South Korea will first realize that confronting China has more disadvantages than advantages. They will start from economic interests and avoid a complete break with China. Europe will also pay huge economic benefits for following the U.S. strategy. Western European countries, such as Germany, will blame the United States for the downward pressure on the economy. If Japan, South Korea, and Europe make peace with China and actually remain neutral, then the United States has no chance of winning in a one-on-one duel. Now that Trump has returned to the White House, he is facing an irreparable U.S.-Russia relationship. Even if he completely sacrifices Ukraine, the bill that Putin has drawn is difficult for him to pay. Countless Russian youths died on the battlefield, which is something that the Americans cannot recover no matter how much money they spend. And if the United States sacrifices Ukraine, Europe will fall into complete panic, and they will compete to repair relations with Russia and China in order to protect themselves. No country will ever act as a pawn of the United States again. Ukraine lost 1/3 of its territory, plus an entire generation of people. And if it gets a smaller territory than before the war, then this bill will also be counted on the Americans.